And him and Strowman will always be like my godparents in New York theater. My favorite shows I ever did was A Christmas Carol at Madison Square Garden. And I booked that show right out when I was leaving Phantom in Toronto. And the Phantom in Toronto had been rough on me. It was my first big show. I made the transition from California to the East Coast. And it was a whole different lifestyle. It was Canada. It was a different country. I felt a little beaten down by Phantom in Toronto. There was a lot of unworthiness that I was struggling with. There's another video of how I booked that show. So the late great director Mike Ockrent, we were there in rehearsal, and we had done a run through, and I was feeling particularly bad. I was having that moment of like, everyone hates me, I'm gonna get fired moment. And I was sitting down, leaning up against the wall of the rehearsal space we were in, and just sort of dejected, like, I'm gonna get fired. I had this feeling like I was sucking eggs real bad. And I remember Mike sort of walking over to me and looking at me, and he said, "Roland." And he sort of tapped his foot against my foot because I was sitting with my legs straight out. And he said, Roland, really good work, huh? You're doing great. Keep it up. That's just a regular thing that a good director says to somebody just to support them. But I needed to hear that from someone like him because I was young. I was a kid. I didn't think I was good enough to be there because of what had just happened in Toronto. Mike Ockrent directed Crazy for You, and that was one of the shows that I had fallen in love with in 1991 when I was visiting New York for a short time. I also had seen his production of Follies in London with Dolores Gray and Daniel Massey and Julie Mackenzie and Diana Rigg. I knew who this man was. I had admired him so much already. The fact that he was encouraging me after that moment of feeling broken down. Unfortunately, Mike passed away a couple years later, and I was grateful to get to be in the show while he was going through his last days. And I was in the company when we got the news that he had passed. Him and Strowman will always be like my godparents in New York theater. There aren't words to tell you how wonderful Mike was and how wonderful he was to me and for me as a young artist. All right. I love you. Thanks for watching. Bye.